Hey guys, what's going on? It is time for a Lego City update, and it has been a while since the last one. So we're going to do a big overview, or at least as close as I can get, of what we've got going on here. Excuse the mess. But there's a lot of things that have changed in the Lego City. And thanks to these new MDF tables that I made, thanks to Home Depot. So yeah, it has gotten about 40% more surface area. And of course it is not finished. So we're gonna, just like before, go left to right, kind of in that order. Starting over on this side. This right here is the makings of the dock or water area. As you can see, I don't have all the base plates in there yet, and there's going to be a dock and all that kind of stuff, but that's just kind of a placeholder for now. Back there I got the the smallest little bit of terrain. Let's see if we can get a better look at that. That's using a lot of the big ugly rock pieces, but just kind of trying to fill in some of the blank wall space there. And there's a siding. These are some cars with some just 1x1 round pieces in them, and we'll take a look at that stuff later on. The big thing that you probably noticed is the new L train, and the L train, it goes the full length of the table and loops back around. And this was the single biggest project that kind of kicked off redoing the tables in their entirety. This was what it was all centered around, and they're about 4 bricks lower than the previous L train, but I got more uniformness to the supports. As you can see, this end, I've gone through my collection of 2x3s and 2x4s and 2x2s, and yeah, so that's this end. Moving on, we got the diner and the garage next to each other, just like before, but I have moved the sewing shop next to the garage. I thought it looked pretty good there because it's kind of an older style building, and so was the diner and the corner garage. And then moving down here in front of the diner, I've got this little kind of social area here. I just had some space, and I extended the sidewalk a little bit and added a fountain, and just kind of went from there. And I just populated it with a bunch of minifigs, and just kind of trying to get a lot of variety. I'm trying to put a lot of diversity in the people that are in my city, which isn't always easy to do because it's hard to track down minifigs that aren't the standard yellow. So moving on, nothing much happened over here. Bank's still next to the sanctum and Peter Parker's apartment. The mechanic shop has changed though. Used to take up 2 base plates, now it just takes up 1. So we lost a garage bay, and kind of moved the customer service section to the corner here, and moved that the rim display to the side. So I made it smaller, but that's okay because it made space for other things. The firehouse, which was next to the rail yard, is now over here. Nothing much has changed about it. It's just kind of has a nice little greenery area, and that part's blank right now. I'm gonna put a park there. I don't know exactly what it's gonna look like, but I'm gonna do something. It's gonna be a park. I know that for sure. And then the Avengers Tower is over here, and Not only did I move it to the side of the train tracks, but I also added those double doors. It doesn't have a full interior, obviously, but just to make it look more accessible to the minifigures, I actually designed the Avengers Tower and built it long before I had a Lego City. So, kind of adapting it after the fact. And here we go. We got this raised bridge portion over here for the L train, and then the track on this side. What I did with this track was I sandwiched together the standard track, and that makes it pretty strong. When we run the trains later, you'll see there's very little, if any, flex in the tracks. I did have to use some of the flexible pieces here and there to get this kind of bizarre shape, which is designed that way to make room for the Avengers Tower. And of course the Ferrari dealership has moved. Nothing much has changed. I did add that little rounded corner there so the elevated train would clear it. And I kind of like it here, even though it's surrounded by the L train, you can still see it, and it no longer has elevated train tracks running over the skylight. And then moving on, this is new as well. It's a new police station. And I think I'll do a separate video on it when I get more pieces in. I'd like to make it 1, if not 2 stories taller. I decided to completely abandon the old police station, which you can see here. And the reason is because it just kind of looked too much like a hospital, and it didn't really look like a police station. But I did add the donut shop over here, and this is of course a modification of the one that comes in the donut store opening set. And it's a little basic right now. It's not quite finished, but that's kind of where I want it, just for the humor factor of it being across the street from the police station. And then the rail yard has gone down a little bit in size, but I kind of made up for it by having a pretty large siding that kind of wraps around the main track there. And part of the new rail yard includes this new gantry crane that I made. And it just rides in the rails. Kind of basic. I use these yellow roller coaster pieces for the actual crane component. And yeah, just kind of populating it, make it look more active. Got a siding there. And then this crossover, this rail crossing portion of it came about because I actually ran out of the 6x8 pieces. And so while I was building that, I was like, hey, that kind of looks cool. I can kind of, continue the stripe that way. So I started doing it over on this side, and ran out of parts. So we'll have to address that. But yeah, this is pretty much it. This is what we got going on now. So we'll take a look at some of the new stuff regarding the trains, because there is quite a bit new. Now this green diesel is not quite new, but I did modify it quite a bit. It's about 4 studs longer, and I redesigned the hood, and I also have 3 axle bogies on this. So just like before, the red box car with the 2 9-volt motors is the power source. Yeah, I wanted the wheels further apart to make it look more like the I believe it's the AC 440 that this is loosely based off of. And so what I came up with was this. This is pretty much the extent of how far you can get the wheels apart, or else it'll bind up or try to come out of the track. So that's pretty much it. And I made a secondary Octane tanker car to go with. So now it has two. We go with the octane locomotive, and then another modification is the caboose. I kind of redid it. It's about 4 studs longer total, different kind of roof, and just kind of overall just try to give it a more, I don't know, kind of old-timey, kind of classic feel. So let's get those out of the way. And then we'll move on to these hopper cars, or coal cars, gondola cars. I'm not sure exactly what the technical term is, but they're very basic. They use those kind of those dump truck sides, and I just put 1x1s in there to kind of simulate, you know, the cargo. And then I made this little guy, just this little switcher. It is not powered. It's more just for looks. But you know, didn't have very much in the city that's dark red, and so I thought that you know, a switcher might be a good place to start. Yeah, just kind of basic, you know, but I like it. And then finally we have these two pieces of rolling stock. This is the same tanker design as the octane ones. I just kind of did a, I don't know, a bit of a kind of a strobe effect. It's probably something that's very very flammable. And then I made one of these flatbed cars, which is kind of a carbon copy of the Maersk ones. Those guys, just recolored. And then I made my own shipping container for it. I just used those corrugated sides and some red doors that I had, you know, lying around. And I don't know if you're supposed to use them this way, but I put the little pallets with extra gear on the end. So yeah, we'll fire up the trains and have the whole thing going. So guys, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this whole video. I know it was a little long, but as you can see, a lot had changed. So still room for improvement, still lots of things yet to design and tweak and rearrange and all that fun stuff. So thank you for watching, and I hope to have a video for you guys soon. Thanks.